Hey makeup friends, I am going to be starting a bit of a declutter series here on my channel. So first up, we're going to be taking a look at my foundations and trying to pare it down a little bit. Let's get into this. As always, I want to start off by welcoming you back to my channel, or if you are new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and on my channel, we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about what is going to be a bit of a series because I'm pre-filming. So you're probably going to see a lot of the same makeup in the intros and outros coming up in the next few videos, but it is what it is. The kids and Barrie and I, we are all going on a family camping trip next week, so I just wanted to sit down, film some easy content. I needed to declutter anyways, and it's just a nice way for me to put some content up but not have to stress about putting makeup on and doing that whole bit. This is for another video, which you will have already seen by the time this one goes up. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a look at foundations. I also have primers coming up, face palettes, highlighters, bronzers, blushes, and that's it. I haven't done lipsticks, I haven't done eyeshadow palettes, but those were the ones that were just like running rampant in my collection, and I just needed to reorganize. And so part of that is decluttering, so I thought, why not film that and share that with you so you can see my thought process, all that kind of stuff. But what I will say is that as I was doing this, I started putting things into what I was calling Makeup Purgatory. In other words, these were my maybes. I wasn't quite sure if I liked them or if I didn't like them. In some cases, they were products that I just hadn't tried in a long time. So I'm going to do a video at some point in the future. I can't pinpoint exactly when it's going to be, but fairly soon, of going through the Makeup Purgatory items as well. So these are the ones that are sort of on the chopping block. So look forward to that in probably a few weeks' time after I've had an opportunity to really put those ones to the test and make a final decision on them. But with all that said, that is enough rambling for me. Let's get into the foundation declutter. Okay, we're gonna dive straight into this, but I have to admit I am highly overwhelmed. I don't even really know where to start with all this. There's like just a sea of foundation here, but I do know that some of them are very old. Some of them, the shades just don't match, so it's time to at least clear out the really old ones and the ones that I know I'm just not going to get much use out of. I don't have a goal in mind in terms of like how many I want to get rid of. I just know that I want to reduce the number so that it's a little bit more manageable, a little bit more easy to store. So there are some that I know for sure I'm not going to get rid of, and I'm going to set those aside first because that's going to help weed this out a little bit. So first up is this one here from Kogan Dough. This is the Aqua Foundation, and I have it in the shade 113. I like that it has like a nice glass, well, is it glass? Yeah, glass bottle with a nice pump. I love this foundation. It just has like such a really nice finish on the skin. Very lightweight, low coverage, but wears really beautifully throughout the day. This one is not going anywhere. Likewise, there's this one here from Makeup Forever. This is the Water Tone Foundation. I have it in the shade Y245. I adore this foundation. Again, very, very lightweight. This one actually does not look like it's going to match me at all. Like it looks far too light for my skin tone. And yet once it's blended out, because it has such sheer coverage, it just helps to even my skin tone and it blends right in quite nicely. So the fact that it's a little bit lighter in color really doesn't translate onto the skin. Y245 is the shade that I typically wear, and this one just happens to appear a little bit lighter, so don't let that fool you. It blends in really, really beautifully. Another lightweight coverage option that I love is this one from Fenty. This is the Easy Drop, and it's just a little squeeze bottle. The shade that I have is number 3, and it's very much like the other two. Again, a lightweight option, wears beautifully throughout the day, does not show any real signs of wear or separation on my skin, and it's just fantastic, especially for summertime, because I don't want anything heavy when it's really hot out, although honestly right now I am wearing, you can't see it because I have my sleeves up, I'm wearing like full-on sweater and jeans because it's effing cold here in Canada. It's like 12 degrees outside Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Anyways, this one is not going anywhere. And then these two here are the same thing. They are both the Foundation X from Natasha Denona. They're both in the same shade, 25W. What happened was when I ordered this one here from Sephora, when they sent it, they had not tightened. Like somehow this had become loose. And so a lot of the product had actually spilled out of the bottle into the like cardboard packaging that it came in. So I contacted Sephora and immediately they sent out a replacement. This one, I didn't find that there was anything like gummy on the inside. There was no like damage to the product that was still inside the bottle. So I just kept it. So basically I have a bottle and a half of this foundation. This one I don't get, I've got like fuzz on my finger. This one I don't get a lot of wear out of in the winter just because it is a little bit on the deeper side. However, as we move into summer, then I'm going to get more use out of this one. You can see it's quite a bit deeper, especially than that water tone, although that's not really a fair comparison because the water tone is very light to begin with. But I'll just quickly compare that with, if I can find it, where is my MAC? Where is it? I have it, it's right here in front of me. So this is MAC NC20. So to show you, the foundation from Natasha Denona is a little bit on the deep side. This is more typically my shade. This one is Natasha Denona. But as we move into summer, this one works really well for me once I get a bit more sun on my skin. And it does blend out nicely. It is a beautiful foundation. Definitely more coverage than the other ones that I've already shown, but it has its purpose. I really do like lightweight in the summer on the hot days, but I really have no complaints about this foundation either, and I am not going to be getting rid of that one. Likewise, since we just brought it out, I'm not going to be getting rid of my MAC Pro Longwear foundation either. This is just one of those good, like, old dependable foundations. I know what to expect with it. I know how it's going to wear. I know how it's going to look on the skin. And it's just a beautiful foundation in and of itself. It has a really nice, natural looking finish on the skin, not too glowy, not too matte, wears nicely, provides medium, buildable up to full coverage. It's just a good staple foundation to have. Now this one here is from Stellar, and this is, I don't even know what it's called. It doesn't say on here, but I have it in shade S01. It is very old. I've had it for quite some time. And it is, again, very light in color. It's a little bit too light for me. And this one, because it has more coverage than the water tone, that lightness doesn't really blend away. And you can see, like I have to use like a tinted powder in order to make it work on my face. So the combination of it being too light, the combination of it being so old, and I don't love this foundation to begin with. Like I just don't love the wear of it. I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm also going to declutter these two here. They're both from Clé de Peau. They're the same thing, just in different shades. This is their, oh God, I never know how to say this word, Teint Naturel Fluide Cream Foundation. I don't know if that's the full word or if I just read the French and then the English. I have no idea. But at any rate, this is BF20 and then B20. They are slightly different in terms of their undertone. I found these at, I don't know, Winners or Marshalls, one of the two, and they were basically next to nothing, comparatively speaking, we'll put it that way. I think they might have been, I can't even hazard a guess, maybe $15 each. I'm not entirely sure, but you can see the difference, or maybe you can't, I don't know, maybe my head's in the way. This one's coming out a lot more liquidy, whereas this one is a lot thicker. And I think that just has to do with the age of the products. I don't know how long they've been in existence before they hit Marshalls or Winners, whichever one it was. And I've certainly had them for well over a year, maybe even 2 years at this point. And they're just a really thick foundation, particularly this shade. I don't know what it is with the shades. Maybe this one's just older, but it is a heavier foundation. I do not reach for it. It does tend to show signs of wear over the course of the day. I think that's because it's so thick and heavy, and it's just not a foundation that I'm going to be wearing, so I am going to get rid of these. This is another lighter weight option. This one is from Urban Decay. This is the Stay Naked Hydro Maniac Tinted Glow Hydrator. It says medium coverage. I would argue that it's lighter coverage, buildable up to medium. But again, it's just one of those nice little squeeze tube applicators. I really like this one as well. I have it in shade 30 Light. It says 24-hour hydration on it. I don't know that my skin feels particularly hydrated when I'm wearing this. I do put on a moisturizer every morning, so I don't really notice any more moisturizing effects from my base products, like my actual makeup products. But what I will say is this is a very nice lightweight option, and it doesn't feel heavy by the end of the day. Like, you don't really have any awareness of it being on the skin. And again, because it is lighter weight, it wears nicely. You don't see such obvious signs of wear as you do with thicker foundations. So I'm definitely keeping this one as well. This one here from Stila, this is the Hide and Chic Fluid Foundation, which I have in the shade Light 4. I have tried to get myself to enjoy this one, and I just don't. I'm not entirely sure what it is about it. You can see it's very liquidy, and I'm not necessarily opposed to that, as you can see from the lightweight options that I've already kept, and then there's a few others that I'll be showing as we go through that I really like, but this one just does not do my skin any favors. And I have tried it multiple times. I have tried it with different primers, and it just never looks fantastic on my skin. And as you can see, I have quite a few foundation options. I don't have time for makeup that's just sort of so-so. And disappointing makeup is something that I can do away with. So this one, I've had it in my collection for a long time. I don't reach for it. I don't enjoy it. I'm going to get rid of it. So when I'm talking about liquidy foundations, these ones really come to mind, in particular the Serum Foundation. These are both from The Ordinary. I both have them in 1.2 YG. This is the Coverage Foundation. This is the Serum Foundation. The Coverage one does provide a little bit more coverage, as the name might suggest. And then the Serum one, I'm not sure if the lighting and the camera will, yeah, you can see it there. You can see just how liquidy it is. And if I shake it next to the mic, you can really hear just how watery this foundation is. And yet, I really do like the effect of it on the skin. So let's just go ahead and I'll just show you a quick comparison between the two. So again, that's the Serum. And this is the Coverage Foundation. You can just see it has a little bit more substance to it. Shade is pretty much the exact same. In fact, it is the exact same. This one is definitely more runny. They're both beautiful, but if you want a little bit more coverage, go for the Coverage option. If you like a more lighter weight, almost to the point of being a skin tint, but not quite, as you can see, it has really good pigmentation and coverage, then go for the Serum, but both of them are beautiful. I really don't see much of a difference at the end of the day with, like, between these two foundations. They both wear really nicely. It's just one is a little bit on the lighter weight side and one has a little bit more substance to it. This foundation here is from the Lip Bar. This is the Skin Serum Foundation. I have it in the shade 102, which I think is their second lightest option. I do not like the applicator on this. I believe now you can buy it without the brush already attached, but like the brush doesn't come off. Like it's attached right to the mechanism. So I don't like that because it just gets so janky and just really gives me heebie-jeebies. And then you have to like click it up and you never really know just how much you're gonna get. And it is a rather thick foundation. So this is one that I don't love. I also don't love the shade of it on me. It's just a little bit too peachy. And it's very thick. Like, it's called a serum foundation, but it's quite thick for being a serum. And I don't tend to use this one, so I am going to let it go. Next up, I have this one here from Revlon. This is the Colorstay Light Cover Foundation. And I have it in the shade 210 Creme Brulee. I remember doing a review on this a while back, and I did not like this. First of all, why is it exploding out? Like, I didn't even squeeze it. Why is it? Explain yourself. What are you doing? Regardless, I didn't like the way that it wore on my skin. It just accentuated pores. It really just did not look flattering on my skin at all, so I'm going to get rid of it. Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation Dewy. I have it in the shade Nude Ivory. I think it's a bit light for me. Like, it's really light for me. I have had a very hard time trying to find the proper shade of this foundation for me, and at this point I don't even know that it's worth the effort because I don't really know that I love this foundation, and it's far too light. I've had a shade up from it and it's too deep for me, so I have such a hard time like finding the correct shade. This is way too light unless I cake like a bunch of powder on top of it to try to deepen it, and then it's just going to look horrific, so let's just get rid of it. Next is the Dior Backstage Foundation, which I have in shade 2W, and this is one that, it reminds me of the MAC Pro Longwear Foundation in that it's just a workhorse. It's such a staple foundation. It wears so nicely. Again, it has like a very natural looking finish on the skin, but whether I'm like hot that day or cold that day, if my skin's a little bit drier, if I'm sweaty, like it's still going to hold up, and I love this foundation so much. Then I have this foundation here from Rare Beauty. This is in the shade 240W. I don't know what I was thinking in getting this shade because it is like way too deep for my skin. Absolutely way too deep. Even when I mix it with lighter things, it's still way too deep. And there's really no salvaging it. I have tried to make it work. Like you can see I have it down this. I know that's not a lot. Like I know when I'm like, look, I've used 1/4 of an inch. I know it's not a lot, but when you have this many foundations and I'm constantly like trying new things and all of that, it shows that I've worn it more than once. Like I've definitely given it its fair shake. I am not super impressed with this foundation, and the shade is certainly way off. I'm going to let it go. I'm also going to get rid of this one here from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is a stick foundation in the shade Beige. This is another one of those ones that I found at Marshall's or Winners. You can see there's like that powdery, slimy, like whatever the hell that is, that like forms on the sides of lipstick and whatnot. You can't see it at all. It's not focusing. I'm not sure if you can see it there, like that film that shows up. And I can wipe it away, but it's like, what is that? That can't be the sign of a fresh foundation. And in fact, I know it's not fresh because I've had it forever. And while I do like it and I do think that it blends out nicely, it's just kind of giving me heebie-jeebies, so time for it to go. But speaking of ABH, I also have this one here. This is the Luminous Foundation in the shade 210N. Again, little pump bottle on it. This one, it's been a while since I've worn it. I don't think I love it, but I really can't remember my feelings on it at this point. So I'm going to put it into like Makeup Purgatory, and I'm going to make a concerted effort to try it, give it its fair shake yet again, and then I will decide from there whether I'm keeping it or letting it go. So it's going to sit in like a maybe section, and I'm going to put some attention to those ones to really finally determine if I want to keep them or not. Another one that's going to go into that same maybe category is this one here from Guerlain. This is the L'Essentiel Natural Glow 16-Hour Wear Foundation, which I have in the shade 02W. And I know I've worn it a few times, but again, this is just one of those ones that's sort of gotten lost in the shuffle, and I can't remember if I really like it or not. Holy focus, come on. Sorry if it's going in and out. I'm trying to balance looking at the product, looking at the viewfinder over here, but also my mic is over here and it's very directional. So if I just stare at the monitor, this doesn't pick me, like it's a whole thing. So anyways, I apologize, but I am going to give this one another try, or, likely I'm probably going to try anyone in these maybe categories a few times just to really determine what I want to do with them. But this is going into Makeup Purgatory as well. The Changemaker Supercharged Micellar Foundation from Bite in the shade L25. I'm also going to put into Makeup Purgatory because I literally have no recollection of whether or not I like this foundation. I genuinely don't remember, which often tells me that I don't love the foundation, but I also don't hate the foundation, because if it's on either end of that spectrum, I usually remember. Like if I have a terrible experience with something, I'm never going to forget it. If I absolutely love it, I'm just going to keep wearing it. So this is probably somewhere in that middle ground, but I need to try it again so that I can refresh my memory on it. This one here is the Luminous Silk Foundation from Giorgio Armani. I have it in the shade 4. I have been working on this as a Project Pan item, and I have to make myself wear this. I do not like this foundation all that much. It just feels heavy by the end of the day, and it's just one of those foundations that by the time I get home from work, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to wash my face. I just need to wash my face because I'm aware of the foundation. Now, I have found that mixing other things in with it does help with that. So in particular, if I mix in the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter Hollywood Goddess, whatever in the hell that thing is called, if I mix it with this, it does help. But also if I mix a serum into this, that really helps. So I've been finding ways to make it work. You can see a little dot on it right here. This is where I started. And then that was where I was hoping to get to. I am just about there. And I don't think I'm going to keep it after that. It's just, again, I go back to that idea of like, I don't have time for disappointing makeup. And I also just don't want to have to fuck with makeup. Like I don't want to have to go to my chemist lab and mix different things in it to make it work. Like it just work. There's enough foundations out there that work perfectly straight out of the bottle. This one, I just don't see myself keeping. But for now, until I've done my Project Pan update, I will continue forcing myself to use it, but it really is a force myself situation. I don't love it. This is just a little mini deluxe sample here from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Airbrush Flawless Foundation. I have it in shade 4. And I mean, the fact that I haven't even finished this little sample here says something. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think that it wears very well. I don't think that it does anything particularly flattering for my skin. So why am I keeping it? I didn't even pay money towards it, so I really can't feel guilty about it, but I'm going to get rid of that. We are getting through them. Yay us. All right, so this one here is another from Giorgio Armani. This is the Neo Nude Natural Glow Foundation. I like this much better than the Luminous Silk. Again, have it in shade 4, little squeeze bottle. And I'm going to keep this one. It's definitely not a favorite foundation of mine, but I do like it far better than Luminous Silk, and I really don't have any strong complaints about it, so I am going to keep this one. These two here are basically both tinted moisturizers, and while I do like the one, like I like both of them to be honest. This one's from NYX. This is the Bear With Me Tinted Skin Veil in shade, I don't know, True Beige Buff. And then this one is from First Aid Beauty, the Ultra Repair Tinted Moisturizer in Light. I've had both of these for well over 2 years each, and particularly with this guy, it kind of shows at this point, like there's all like separation in there. I could shake it up, but the fact that I know it's separated just skews me out a little bit. And I've had both of them for roughly the same amount of time, if memory serves. Don't quote me on that one. But at any rate, I just don't tend to reach for them. I much prefer the Fenty and the Makeup Forever and the Urban Decay over the NYX. And this one is just, it's so old. So I'm going to let both of them go. So this one here is the Good Apple Foundation from KVD, and I really do like this one. A little goes a long way. It does pack quite the punch, but I do find that it blends out nicely. If I had to choose between this and say the Water Tone or the Urban Decay, I would go for those over this one, just for my own personal preferences. If you want more coverage, this one is going to get it done for you. The shades are a little misleading though, I will say. So I have it in shade Light 021, which, I mean, the description is perfect for my skin tone. I am light with golden/warm undertones. That's what my skin is. When I got this, I was like, wow, that's way too deep. But it blends out perfectly. And so whereas the Makeup Forever, it looks too light but matches perfectly, this one looks too deep, matches perfectly. I don't know what the science is behind either of those two things, but there we have it. Got another candidate here for Makeup Purgatory. This one is from Juvia's Place. It's the I Am Magic Velvety Matte Foundation. I have it in the shade Capri. I'm not entirely sure if they changed their naming. I can't remember, but 830 it looks like, 630? 630. Holy crap, I'm old. 630. This is a very like heavy foundation. Like it's It is thicker, it has full coverage, it is a matte finish. I tend to shy away from full coverage matte foundations. Again, this one, if I mix in the Charlotte Tilbury with it, it does help. But I'm going to give it another good fair shake. I want to wear it for a couple of days, like for a full day. I did wear it within the last few months just for filming purposes, but I do want to wear it like all day to work, see how I feel about it at the end of the day, and then I'll decide from there. This is the Vanish Seamless Finish Liquid Foundation from Hourglass. I have it in the shade Natural. I have not worn this very many times. It kind of got lost in the sea of the newer foundations that I got. So I'm going to keep this one because I do remember enjoying it, but I do need to make a concerted effort to actually use it. That's kind of the point of doing this declutter, is to remind myself what I have and then to just sort of weed out the distractions. So I anticipate getting some good use out of this one going forward. This is the Superstay Better Skin Powder Foundation from Maybelline in the shade 20, which is Classic Ivory. I don't even think they make this anymore, or if they do, it's in different packaging now, but I mean, I have worn the heck out of this foundation and I fully intend to finish it completely. I really, really like this one. It doesn't look cakey on my skin. It still provides really nice coverage, evens everything out, wears nicely throughout the day. It's very lightweight, blends beautifully. I really like this. So I do need to actually take a look at the Maybelline section next time I'm at the drugstore and just see if they have something the exact same, similar to, anything like that. If you know if they have the Superstay Better Skin still, or if it's called something else, please let me know, because this is one that I would absolutely repurchase. Likewise, I also love this powder foundation from Fenty. This is the Pro Filter Soft Matte Powder Foundation in the shade 210. And I haven't obviously used it as much as the Maybelline because I've had the Maybelline forever. But this is another one that it doesn't look cakey on the skin at all. It doesn't like get weird on the skin. Does that help? Like if I'm like sweaty, it doesn't like create little rivulets on my face, anything of that sort. So this is just one that wears nicely as well, and I'm definitely keeping that. And then I'm going to put this powder foundation into the Makeup Purgatory. This is the Cocoa Powder Foundation from Too Faced. I have it in the shade Golden Light. This again is one that I believe I found at Winners, Marshalls, I can't remember which one. I do have quite a dip going on in there. It still feels very nice and soft and velvety. I just don't remember if I really like it or not. Like I don't remember how it stacks up with the other two because I haven't worn it in so long. So I need to give it a try. I can see that I have used it quite a bit. So again, I don't think I've hated it, but I can't remember. So I need to wear it some more. And then there were two. So this one here is from e.l.f. This is the Flawless Satin Foundation. I have it in the shade, I don't know, Light Ivory, little pump bottle on it. I am not super in love with this foundation. It's just okay in my opinion, which at the price point, I guess is good, but when I have so many, I just don't reach for it. And so I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm going to let it go. All right. And then finally we have this one here from Merit. This is in the shade Linen, and it is their Perfecting Complexion Stick. And it's designed to be used as an all-over complexion stick. So you can use it as a foundation, as a concealer. There you go. I do not like it as a concealer at all. It does crease up. It doesn't provide the level of coverage that I want it to. So I do not like it as a concealer. As a foundation, it's not bad, although honestly, I don't think it's necessarily worth the investment because you're really not getting a lot, and like you see how little it is. If I compare that to the ABH stick foundation, like you really gotta spend some time to get this to cover your entire face. As a concealer, that size would work, but like I've established, I don't like it as a concealer, so I don't wear it that way. Now, Merit was kind enough to send this out to me, so I didn't pay for it, but I don't know. I still want to give it some more wear as a foundation to really determine if I love it or not. I can safely say that I don't love it. I don't. I'm going to put it in purgatory. It's new enough that I feel guilty getting rid of it, so I want to give it some more wear time. So we'll put that in purgatory. So these are the ones that are in my must try again list. So we've got the Bite Beauty, the Merit, the Too Faced Powder Foundation, which again, I don't think they still make this one, to be honest. So hopefully I don't fall completely in love with it because I won't be able to replace it. We've got the ABH Luminous Foundation, the Juvia's Place Magic Foundation, and then the foundation from Guerlain. So I'm going to leave those where I can reach them most easily and really put them to the test. And then quickly, I'm just going to put my foundations away. This container is from the Cosmetic Archive, which I don't think they're still operational, which is really sad. I think over the course of 2020, they closed down their business, which is sad because I really did like their products. They're really well made. I've had this for so long, like 3 years, I think. No cracks, no chips, no problems, but unfortunately, I don't think that they are in business anymore. But I'm just going to go ahead and quickly reorganize the foundations that I'm keeping. I'm going to keep this one out because I'm still working on that project pan. And then these guys don't really fit on it, but there's room in the drawer for them. So that's good because this was overflowing earlier. Now I do still have primers to go through, but this is far more manageable for me and doesn't cause me nearly as much anxiety as it was before. And then these are the foundations that are exiting my collection, 13 in total, so I feel good about that. I'm not going to be passing these off to friends because most of them are just really old and I wouldn't do that to my friends. The only ones that I would consider passing along are these two. Maybe I will keep these ones aside. I do have a friend who has a deeper skin tone than me and she might enjoy these ones. So I will see about those, but the rest of these are just way too old to inflict on anybody else. And then in the case of the Revlon, it's just terrible. And so I'm not going to do that to somebody else. All right, guys, and there you have it. That is my foundation declutter. I feel so much better having done that. The drawer that I keep my foundation in now opens and closes very easily. There's extra space in the holder, and that just makes me happy. It's just, sometimes it gets stressful, honestly. Like my collection, I love it. I cherish it, I value it, but every now and then it just gets out of control and then it stresses me out because every time I open the drawer, it's just this big hodgepodge and mess. I lose sight of what I actually have. I forget about things that I love. So I really do like going through and decluttering every now and then. I do have to be in the right frame of mind for it, but luckily today it worked out. At any rate, I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.